Welcome back to GameVault HQ. Buckle up, folks. Today we're diving into Two Falls, Nishu Takuatshina, an indie game that fuses indigenous culture with a gripping storyline that'll have you hooked from the start. This game stands out from the crowd in some refreshing and thought-provoking ways. So, does it live up to the hype or flop like a fish out of water? Let's find out. Two Falls, released on November 8, 2024, is an ambitious project from Unreliable Narrators that takes us deep into the 17th century, exploring two very different perspectives in what we now call Canada. Spoiler alert, it's not just maple syrup and moose. It's a rich, emotional journey through two worlds colliding. You play as Jeanne, a French settler, and Maïkan, a young Innu hunter, whose paths cross in surprising ways. The two protagonists offer different views on survival, struggle, and adaptation in an unfamiliar land, and this dual storytelling approach feels genuinely engaging without feeling forced or disjointed. It's a game about connections, to each other, to nature, and to a world on the brink of drastic change. The game's secret sauce is its storytelling. Each character's journey is unique and deeply personal, making it easy to connect with both Jeanne and Maïkan in a way that feels real and meaningful. Jeanne is grappling with a new world that's overwhelming and at times hostile, while Maïkan's story is rooted in survival and the traditions of his people. This juxtaposition is what gives Two Falls its emotional resonance. The writing respects the unique voices of both characters and weaves in cultural elements that feel authentic, not just surface-level detail, but actual insight into their respective worlds. Now let's talk about the visuals, because honestly, they're nothing short of stunning. It's like walking into a painting, with every scene crafted to draw you deeper into this world. Forests, rivers, and settlements are beautifully detailed, drawing you into this version of the 17th century wilderness. The use of lighting, whether it's the muted glow of a campfire or the morning mist over a dense forest, sets the tone perfectly, making exploration feel almost meditative. The visuals make the world feel alive and breathing, which enhances the emotional storytelling. The sound design hits all the right notes, creating an immersive experience that pulls you in, whether it's the whisper of wind through the trees or the haunting melodies that accompany key moments. The soundtrack combines indigenous music and more ambient, tension-building tracks for Jeanne's storyline. The score underlines each narrative beat effectively, adding to the immersion without ever becoming distracting. Voice acting, while not abundant, is well executed and helps to elevate some key moments. The ambient sounds, wind rustling through leaves, distant calls of animals, all add to the authenticity of the game's setting. Speaking of immersion, let's dive into the gameplay. This is where opinions might diverge. This game leans heavily on exploration and interaction, with a lot of focus on environmental storytelling. It's not an adrenaline-fueled blockbuster. You won't find epic explosions or thrilling car chases here. Instead, you'll be wandering through environments, interacting with objects, talking to characters, and making choices that impact the direction of the story. The choices aren't necessarily game-changing in a dramatic way, but they do influence how each character's story unfolds and how they view the world. It's a slow burn, the kind of game where the journey is far more important than the destination. For some players, the pacing might feel a bit too slow. If you're someone who craves non-stop action, Two Falls might feel slow. But for those who enjoy a more deliberate pace, there's beauty in the details. It's deliberate in how it unfolds, which I found to be effective for the story it wants to tell, but it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea. However, if you enjoy narrative-driven experiences that prioritize atmosphere and storytelling over spectacle, you'll find a lot to love here. Technically, the game runs smoothly, though I did encounter a few minor bugs, like characters freezing mid-action, which occasionally took me out of the experience. Considering the game's indie roots, these issues are minor and could be patched in the future. A huge part of what makes Two Falls stand out is how it handles the indigenous perspective. It's rare to see a game approach indigenous culture with this level of care and respect, and you can tell the developers put in the effort to ensure Maïkan's story was handled authentically. They worked with indigenous consultants to ensure Maïkan's story didn't fall into stereotype city, and thankfully, it shows. There's a real respect here for the Innu culture, which is refreshing to see in a medium that often mishandles these kinds of stories. At its core, Two Falls is about connection to people, culture, and nature. The game has a poetic simplicity that lets you explore these relationships deeply, and by the end, I felt like I genuinely walked in both characters' shoes. It's not perfect. The pacing could use a bit of tightening, and the gameplay might feel a little sparse to some, but it's undeniably a memorable experience. We're giving Two Falls, Nishu Takuatshina, a well-deserved 8 out of 10. It's heartfelt and atmospheric. Even if it's not everyone's style, it's a journey worth taking. If you enjoyed this review, be sure to smash that like button and subscribe for more game reviews and news right here on GameVault HQ. We've got plenty more coming your way. Thanks for watching, and don't be a stranger. See you in the next video.